Hi, good evening. What's poppin'? It's your boy Big Rich, straight off the streets of Queens, mob stories. You know how we get down. Tonight I got a special little article we want to talk about, especially being the fact that The Irishman is dropping a week from tonight. And of course, one of the greatest mysteries in America is where is Jimmy Hoffa's body? Or where's Jimmy Hoffa? A lot of speculation. Of course, The Irishman is based on a book called I Paint Houses. A lot of controversy right now because a lot of people saying the book is fake, based on lies. Well, you know, I can't prove that, so I wasn't there. But great article tonight about Jimmy Hoffa. Let's get right into business. Before we do that, you already know. Gentlemen, wipe your feet on the rug. Ladies, cross your legs when you sit down. Throw some smoke in the atmosphere. Oh my God. Let me tell you something. This shit is just tasting better and better every day. Pineapple Express with some Girl Scout cookie live resin. Minke. Delicious. He's down to business. Mobster's son says he knows where Jimmy Hoffa is buried and who killed him. He says he's been carrying the secret for 5 years and finally wants it out. I know where Jimmy Hoffa is buried, absolutely, says Phillip Moscato Jr. He also says he knows who killed him. Mob hitman Salvatore Sally Bugs Briguglio. Sally Bugs is the one who pulled the trigger in Detroit. Phil, the son of Hoffa suspect Philip Brother Moscato Sr., his nickname was Brother, a Genovese crime family powerhouse in New Jersey who died of liver cancer in 2014 at the age of 79. Phil told Fox Nation in an exclusive interview that not only did his father reveal that his close childhood friend and fellow Genovese mobster Sally Bugs shot the Ionic labor leader, but that his dad also told him where the body ended up. Quote, I am the only person who knows the location of his final resting place, he told Fox Nation. He is there. I believe 100,000,000% I know it is. Federal investigators have long stated that Hoffa was murdered in Detroit when he disappeared on July 30th, 1975, and reported transported to New Jersey by the Genovese crime family mobsters responsible for the killing. It is believed that he was buried in the largest dump that Moscato's father owned in New Jersey, the PJP landfill known as Moscato's Dump. But Phil says that after one of his father's mafia cohorts flipped and cooperated with the FBI in November of 1975, 4 months after Hoffa vanished, the body was moved so the authorities would not discover it. The remains have yet to be found. Phil's father, known as Brother, took the fifth before the federal grand jury probing Hoffa's disappearance. He was a multimillionaire New Jersey and Florida restaurant owner who also served as a major Garden State mobster. A 1972 FBI report described him as one of the top loan sharks in Hudson and Bergen County, New Jersey, a La Cosa Nostra member and labor racketeer, reputed to be a hitman. Moscato Sr. was close to Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano, who federal prosecutors said orchestrated Hoffa's disappearance. Tony Pro was a notorious Genovese family New Jersey capo who also served as president of the New Jersey City Teamsters Local 560. He held a long-standing personal animus towards Hoffa and centered on money, and his mafia bosses opposed Hoffa's attempts to regain the presidency of the Teamsters Union. Phil says Provenzano ordered that Hoffa's body be brought back to New Jersey as a trophy. Tony Pro is the one who put it all together. He is the one who wanted the body brought back to New Jersey. That is why the body was brought back here. The thing between all of them was the body comes back to Jersey. It was a Jersey thing. And there's a Jersey guy in control now. Keep him close. Keep him where we can see him. It kind of sounds like a sick thing, but that's the way it was. It was a control type deal. Kind of like a trophy. He wanted him in Jersey, and that was his trophy. And he wanted everybody to understand that's how it went down back then. He explains that his father finally decided to come clean toward the end of his life on the day he was discharged from the Jersey Shore Medical Center in Neptune, New Jersey, to go home for hospice care in 2014. He was a tough guy, one of the toughest guys to ever come out of Jersey City, says Phil. He was a straight up old school mobster. He was going out of his way. He wanted to be home with my mother, with my family. It was probably the scariest day of his life. Phil says when his mother Angela went to the hospital cafeteria to bring back some lunch, his father took a moment to reveal what he knew to his son. As they sat together on the hospital bed, back to back because of his dad's back problems, he says his father slipped him the secrets. My mother goes and leaves, and he says, I've got a few things I want to talk to you about. And I'm thinking, take care of your mother. I'm going to hear all that. And is there anything financial that I have to take care of? We spoke about things of this sort, and then he drops a bombshell on me. He says, I have something I want to tell you, and I want you to listen real good. He says, I need to tell you the location of where Jimmy Hoffa is buried. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to tell me the location? He says, I'm going to tell you where Jimmy Hoffa is buried. And he gave me the location of where Jimmy Hoffa is buried. It took several years for Phil to process and fully absorb what his father told him, to put the pieces together and then become comfortable with sharing it. And Dan Moldia is considered the most prominent Hoffa expert in the country, debating Hoffa's fate. Moldia, who started on the Hoffa beat in 1974 and went on to write the landmark book, The Hoffa Wars, in 1978, first interviewed Phil's father in 2007 and had earned his family's trust through the years. He was a stand-up guy, said Moldia of Moscato Sr. Hoffa is killed in Detroit and then loaded into a 55-gallon drum and taken to New Jersey. Moscato confirmed to me that the Hoffa's body was brought back to New Jersey. Moscato Sr. told Medea, they said that me and Sal buried Hoffa in my dump, brought the truck in, and Hoffa was there, and we buried him. However, he refused to tell Medea where Hoffa's remains apparently then ended up after being removed out of the dump. In November of 1975, a member of Tony Pro's crew, Ralph Picardo, tipped off the FBI, Desgraciad, about Hoffa's murder and suggested that he was being buried in Moscato's dump. That news seemingly prompted the mobsters to move the body to another location before the feds could discover it. Once they hear that Ralph Picardo is talking and informing and actually locating Brother Moscato's dump as the site of the body, which it was at that point that the whole Provenzano crew decided to go red alert and get the body out of there, says Moldia. Picardo's son, Ralph Picardo Jr., told me that his father told the truth about the murder. I am confident in what he said, Picardo told me. There is an overwhelming possibility the remains will be found. The chances are getting better with the passage of time. The Bureau searched the dump but came up empty, a not unsurprising result of considering if the body had already been moved. In fact, Sally Buggs was so brazen that two of the other suspects, his brother Gabe and Thomas Andretta, put up a $10,000 reward to anyone who unearthed Hoffa's corpse in the dump. Money they knew would never have to be paid out because the remains were no longer there. Some FBI and Department of Justice officials have stated that Sally Buggs was the shooter, but prosecutors were unable to make a case against him by the time he was shot to death in a suspected mob rubout on Mulberry Street in Manhattan's Little Italy in 1978, 3 years after Hoffa disappeared. The killing remains unsolved. Sally Buggs, yes, was the one, says Phil. It was Sal. It was Sal's hit. I remember Sally from when I was a little kid. A 1976 U.S. Federal Strike Force memo stated, Sally Buggs was given the actual assignment, and thereafter he notified the interested parties of his success completion on the evening of 7/30/75, either personally or through a third party. The Department of Justice reported also that Sally Buggs was trying to get his hands on a backhoe, presumably to bury Hoffa. That memo says Sally Buggs and unidentified men found themselves urgently in need of a backhoe on Thursday morning, which happened to be the day after Hoffa disappeared. An informant advised a strike force attorney in Newark that Salvatore had borrowed a backhoe around the time of Hoffa's disappearance. The memo, which was heavily redacted, indicates that the backhoe appeared to have been borrowed from the nearby Orlando Construction Company. The president of Orlando Construction has been identified as Thomas Principe, a reputed high-ranking member of the powerful Genovese crime family. The former boss of the Genovese crime family's New Jersey operation Phil refuses to confirm 200 Outer Water Lane as a location where his father told him that Hoffa was buried. He says that he is waiting for further confirmation of a few more details that would corroborate his father's information before going public. When he does, he says he will tell what he knows to law enforcement authorities in a sworn affidavit so they can start a dig looking for Hoffa's remains. Interest in the Hoffa disappearance has been heightened with the release of the Netflix film The Irishman, which is based on the claim of Frank the Irishman Sheeran, who claimed he killed Hoffa. For years, many believed Sheeran, but then the new information emerging about what may have happened. Phil and others say that Sheeran's story is not just unfounded, but an outright fabrication. Frank Sheeran is full of shit, Phil told Fox Nation. He doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't add up. I'm not here to hurt anybody, but I want the real story to be told for the Hoffa family. A variety of former law enforcement officials who investigated Hoffa's disappearance have also recently come forward to claim that Sheeran's story is false. Even the mafia is not buying his tale. The man that killed Jimmy Hoffa was Sal Briguglio. He was a triggerman, says former Philadelphia mob boss Ralph Natal, whose book is Last Don Standing, details his days running the mafia in the city of brotherly love in the 1990s. Natal told Fox Nation that Sheeran did nothing. His whole life was a lie. He didn't kill him, not in a million years. Charles Brandt, the author of Sheeran's biography, I Heard You Paint Houses, that is the basis for the film, and the book's publisher, Chip Fleischer, stand by Sheeran, who died in 2003. Brandt has denied that Sheeran's fabricated story to sell his book, telling Fox Nation that Sheeran did it. It is the law of confession, the law of cooperation, and it's satisfied over and over again, he said. Phil hopes his information will help prosecutors find Hoffa's remains so that the case may be finally put to rest and the Hoffa family can have some solace. Hoffa's son, James P. Hoffa, is the current president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, and his daughter Barbara is a retired judge in St. Louis, Missouri. A big part of this is the Hoffa family, Phil says, adding that he wants to act responsibly. I really want this to happen. For them never knowing, I'm hoping that this will give them a little closure. People will say, oh, he should just tell the poor family, and I understand that. Believe me, I really understand that. I do. It's partly why I'm going slow. I want to make sure that when it comes out the right way, and I want them to feel comfortable about the location that I'm giving to. This is a process that I'm doing. I'm not just blurting it out, but the story is together. It is definitely together. It makes sense. So let's see. Is this guy just talking, nonsense? Does he have proof? Of course, him doing this interview, like, you're getting a little publicity here, Phil. But again, if you are telling the truth, this may solve one of the biggest mysteries that has been around since 1975. Where the fuck is Jimmy's body, right? So great article. I hope you guys enjoyed it. There's going to be a Fox News special by, I think the guy's name is Eric Shawn. So let's throw some respect on Eric Shawn's name. He yeah, and it's going to be aired. I'll tell you guys when they're going to air this. Let's see. Riddle. It's called Riddle. The Search for James R. Hoffa. I guess you have to just follow him. I guess he wants everybody to follow him or sign up for Fox Nation to find out when they're gonna air it. But when they air it, we'll talk about it and let's see what this guy's saying. But he said he just wants to do his, he wants to cross his T's and dot his I's, and he wants to be sure before he opens his mouth. Now, is he waiting for, could this be another movie? Can this be another book? Is Phil looking to maybe try to get paid off the information? If he has the information and if it is true, then I think this will make a hell of a story. If they do find the remains, then, you got to feel bad for the Irishman. But then again, do we not want to see Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, and Al Pacino on the screen? Right? I do. So let's see how this plays out. But salute to everybody. Mob stories. You know how we do. Like the video, share the video, and let everybody know, the hottest platform in town, Ruckus Radio, Big Rich. Have a good night. Salute.